Throw bill and I keep a machete, train the pets if I'm selling the coke. Most doubt, they cut the bill on the rate, son.
Cut the bill, and then I keep my trying to pass it on selling the coke. Most of them. They cut the bill on the Wraith. You know what I'm saying? Kodak Black just went off after getting called out for allegedly rocking fake jewelry. The internet zoomed in, receipts flying everywhere, and Kodak wasn't having it. I know I should never let these get my day on some they already mad when I'm going through it with some other in rap. Image is everything. So, when other secrets dropped alongside the jewelry story, things immediately got out of control. Let's break it down. The tester. A clip started making the rounds showing Kodak Black getting music, stepped by somebody holding a diamond tester. One of those little handheld devices that tells you whether a stone is a real diamond or some cheaper alternative like moissanite. Dude wanted to run the tester on one of Kodak's pieces right there on the spot. Kodak was not having it. He got in the person's face, music, told him the ice was real, and basically shut the whole interaction down. And that clip, it took off. Accounts reposted the clip with captions straight up calling Kodak out for rocking, music, fake pieces. Some threw in their own 2 cents, pointing at the way he got heated as all the proof they needed. Others pulled up clips of different rappers who had willingly let their chains get tested and passed with flying colors, holding up the results like music, a trophy. That contrast made Kodak's refusal hit different. Now, this was not the first time Kodak's jewelry ended music up in a conversation he never started. His name had already gotten pulled into jewelry-related drama before that clip ever went viral, involving jewelers, music, FedEx packages, live streams, and accusations that went sideways in ways nobody saw coming. The diamond tester moment was a clip. What happened before was a whole movie. Kodak had dealt with jewelers who fumbled major music orders before big events, random people on the internet calling his pieces fugazi music, and even a situation where somebody else was holding his chains and posting videos with them like they owned them. Each one of those situations fed into the next, and music. By the time that diamond tester clip circulated, the internet already had the narrative locked and loaded. But the story does not start music with a tester. It starts with what Kodak himself has said about his own money, his own ice, and how he moves. Music, because long before anyone came at his pieces, he was on camera making statements about music, what was real and what was not, and not always in the way you expect. They always be asking me for money. They'd be like, "I need you to send me money, babe." I'll say, "Man, I ain't got no money." That was Kodak talking about the bread people see him flash online. And then he dropped this. "That money you be seeing me with on Instagram, that be fake money, man. That be prop money. This is not my money, bro. I do not have nothing." Laughter, he said that on camera. Nobody asked him. He straight up told people the racks they see him holding on Instagram music are prop money. Now, whether that was him joking, trying to keep people from sliding in his DMs asking for handouts, or something else music, entirely, it put words out there that the internet was going to hold on to like a receipt. When you tell people one part of the flex is not real, they start side-eyeing everything else. And his jewelry was the next thing people. Music zeroed in on. The chains, the grills, the pendants, the rings. Kodak has spent years putting those pieces on display. He has done business with multiple jewelers across New York and Houston. He has talked about dropping 6 figures on individual pieces. Like it was nothing. He has gone live wearing them, shot videos dripping in them, and pulled up to events loaded. Music, none of that stopped people from questioning it. And the questioning did not stay in the comments. It reached a point where the jeweler's Kodak work became part of the story themselves, and not music, always in a way that made Kodak look like the one who was tripping. Sometimes, the jewelers were the ones moving foul. The diamond tester clip was the latest chapter. What follows is every chapter that came before it, and every chapter music that came after. From a botched delivery before one of the biggest stages in hip-hop to industry-wide accusations that dragged Kodak's name music into something way bigger than one clip and one little handheld device. The flex, music. To understand why the internet was so ready to question Kodak Black's jewelry, you gotta first understand how hard this man went when it came to showing it off. This was never a rapper who threw on music, one chain, and called it fit. Kodak built his entire visual identity around the ice, stacking pieces, rotating them out, comparing old ones' music to new ones on live, making sure every fit had the right set to go with it. His jewelry was not the side dish. It was a whole entree of damn near every appearance music he made online or in person. And he talked about it relentlessly on Instagram Lives and interviews music in random conversations that had zero to do with jewelry. He would hold up a chain and break down the clarity music of the stones, the weight of the setting, the way it hit when the light caught it at certain angles. He had a habit of measuring his pieces against what other people's music were wearing, not always by name, but the implication was always loud and clear. His message stayed consistent. Music. What he wore was real, what he spent was on the books, and if anyone had doubts, they could pull up the receipts. Look at the difference. Look how I be playing with it. Look how clean the cut. Look how my hand like that. He was flexing his pieces. Music. Pointing out the finish. Highlighting how his chains held up without needing constant trips back to the jeweler for polishing. I don't have music, polish it much. Nobody don't want to let me. I know you. That confidence music was not just talk. Kodak genuinely believed his collection spoke for itself. He cycled through custom joints that included heart-shaped pendants dripping with baguette diamonds. Music. Cuban link chains heavy enough to give you neck problems. Grills from some of the most well-known names in the jewelry game. And rings covering multiple fingers at once. Music. The total bag spent across all of it reportedly ran deep into six figures, potentially seven, depending on which numbers you believe. And the spending did not stop at the ice. On another live, Kodak showed off his whips, bragging about the kind of money he was blowing on customization alone. Say it's new car. We actually like spending that like 200, 300, and underscore, like for the wheels. 200 to 300 bands on wheels. And he was just getting warmed up. I'm customizing these. Customizing holes, baby. The picture Kodak was painting of himself was impossible to miss. He ran through the whole inventory on camera like he was doing an audit. Big worm answers. Big worm time is big worm zip. Big worm whip. Big worm drip. And when it came to other rappers who might have been doing the same thing, Kodak drew a hard line between himself and them. He was not subtle about it whatsoever. Kodak has positioned himself as somebody whose bread and taste are both undeniable, and yet some folks still question whether any of it is legit. Music. The prop money comment did not help matters. Even if it was a joke, even if Kodak only said it to get music people off his back about cash, it landed different when stacked next to the diamond tester refusal and the accusations already floating around. People stitched the two moments together into one narrative. First, music. The money is prop, then the jewelry gets questioned, and now he will not let anyone test his stones. Music, the math, as far as the internet was concerned, was not adding up. But the really interesting part about Kodak's relationship with jewelry was not the way he talked about it online. It was the business relationships behind the scenes, the jewelers he dealt music with, the transactions that went smooth and the ones that went completely left. The BET fiasco. The timeline on the Izzy jeweler incident lines up with Kodak Black's music appearance at the BET Hip Hop Awards, and the whole mess played out on Instagram Live in real time. Kodak did not sit with it. He did not let his team cook up a PR statement or wait for the smoke to clear. Music. He went live and he aired it all out. The situation kicked off with what seemed like a simple arrangement. Kodak had been doing business music with the jeweler, referred to throughout his rant as Izzy Jeweler. And at some point, the jeweler's team offered to clean some of Kodak's existing pieces. They had been at his crib, seen chains and rings and music had copped from other jewelers, and volunteered to service them. "Oh, let me see that your jewelry," they say. "Oh, let me see that heart and the ring, whatever. We'll clean it up for you." Straightforward enough, right? They took music. His heart chain on a Cuban link, a baguette chain, and some other pieces, including joints that had been made by a completely different jeweler. The play was supposed to be simple. Clean them up, ship music, them back. Everybody eats. Smooth transaction. That is not how it went down. What music? actually happened was a shipping catastrophe wrapped in professional negligence, and all popped off at the worst possible time. I know I shouldn't have let these underscorers get my day on some underscore they already mad. I'm going through with some other underscore. The tension was already simmering. Kodak had been rocking with other jewelers on the music side, which apparently rubbed Izzy's team the wrong way. But the real chaos started when the jewelry was supposed to come back through FedEx. Music, they shipped a package. They FedEx my jewelry, bro. I sent it FedEx my jewelry. Now they're saying, oh, we sent you the wrong, but when it pulled up, it was not as ice inside. Different music, pieces, wrong items, a complete fumble. Now they sent me a FedEx package over. This ain't even my underscore in there. I remind you I'm going through with some other people. So now Kodak was sitting music on a package with somebody else's jewelry, possibly a Cuban link, though he did not even bother to inspect it closely. And his own pieces were still chilling at the jeweler's shop under normal circumstances. This would have been an annoying mix-up. Swap the packages, figure music, it out, keep it moving, but these were not normal. Circumstances, not even close. Kodak was music on his way to Atlanta for the BET Hip Hop Awards. He had a specific outfit locked in, the black and orange drip that fans would later see on screen, music. And the jewelry that completed that look was the same jewelry sitting in the jeweler's possession, not in his hands. All right, man. All right, bro. You ain't even touched the underscore. I'm like, I'm on the way to ATL, bro. I need it, bro. Making everything worse, the stray music package, the one the jeweler had accidentally sent to Kodak, was sitting at a different property. Kodak owned multiple cribs, music, and the package had been dropped at the wrong one. So when both parties linked up in Atlanta, the jeweler's music team flying in from New York, Kodak coming up from Florida, the jeweler's team demanded an exchange before they would hand over Kodak's actual pieces. They wanted their mistakenly shipped package back first, music, but Kodak did not have it on him. It was at another house, hundreds of miles away, and the BET Awards music performance was not next week, not tomorrow. It was tonight. They cleared it on there. They hit it like not that. Basically like they didn't give me they held his jewelry hostage. His own shipping error that was the jeweler's fault from the jump. I'm about to perform on BET Awards. I'm about to do this Bet Awards music. Right now, and I need what's in that box. I'm going to tell you his frustration was through the roof. He pointed out the bag he had run up with them. Well, music. Over $300,000 worth of business. And questioned why they were treating him like somebody who would finesse them over one Cuban link. Y'all have made over $300,000, y'all have. Made a lot of money off me, homie. Next, a customer who had dropped that kind of bread with a business getting denied his own property over a logistical blunder that music, the business created. Kodak saw it as flagrant disrespect bordering on sabotage, and then it got even worse. They stopped picking up a phone entirely. The night of the BET Awards, with clock ticking down to a performance slot, the jeweler's team went ghost on him. That is when the situation pivoted music from a business dispute to something that felt deeply personal. Because while Kodak was blowing up their phone lines, someone connected to the jeweler was doing something that took this whole ordeal to a completely different level. And it is a part of the story that links directly back to the fake jewelry accusations and exactly how this whole Izzy jeweler chapter became ammunition the internet would run with for years. The accusations. While Kodak was scrambling to get his ice back before the BET Awards, something popped up on his phone that shifted the entire energy of the situation. His homeboy hit him with a clip. Somebody connected to Izzy Jeweler's operation was on Instagram filming themselves rocking Kodak's pieces, his heart chain, his baguette chain, his ring. The jewelry that was supposed to be on Kodak's neck for a nationally televised performance was instead being music flexed on social media by some random who had absolutely no business putting their hand on it. Is a regular on Instagram making videos on me with my underscore, got my heart chain, my baguette chain, my ring. The person was not just posing with the pieces, either. They had commentary to go with it, like he playing games. I don't know if he trying to act like he stole my underscore. I don't know, he just saying the underscore. And right here is where the fake jewelry angle entered the picture from somebody connected to the very jeweler Kodak was beefing with. All fake underscore, that's saying underscore Always the world catch me with any fake as red rubies, and some crazy as the person in the clip was calling Kodak's pieces fugazi, claiming the rubies were imitation. Basically, music. Telling the whole internet that the collection Kodak had built and flaunted for years was nothing but costume jewelry. And they were doing this while physically wearing his chains. Chains that were only in their possession because of a cleaning arrangement that the jeweler's own team had set up in the first place. Kodak's response was immediate and visceral. Like, what? What, you tripping? We getting money and fake what? He dismissed the accusation on site, pointing music out the obvious absurdity of a jeweler's associate calling a paying customer's pieces music fake while rocking those same pieces on camera. He also raised a question that cut straight to the core of the professionalism issue. Why was this person even allowed to touch his jewelry? The combination of being denied his ice before a major performance, having his calls ducked, and then seeing his pieces paraded on social media with fake jewelry accusations attached was enough to push Kodak past any desire to handle this quietly. He told his audience exactly where not to spend their money. He dropped the name twice. No codes, no euphemisms, no beating. Around the bush. The message was crystal clear. This jeweler had fumbled a relationship with a high-spending client, handled his property like it was a toy, and let somebody in their circle publicly disrespect him while he could not do a single thing about it because they were still holding his jewelry. The Izzy Jeweler situation, as grimy as it was, existed in a specific lane. It was a one-on-one beef between a rapper and a jeweler who did him dirty. What popped off in 2026 was an entirely different beast in terms of scale. A tidal wave of accusations and rumors that swept through the entire hip-hop jewelry industry and dragged Kodak's name into a scandal music that had very little to do with him personally, but everything to do with the jewelers he had rocked with. Music. The epicenter of this new storm was Houston. Viral claims started circulating in early 2026 music that Johnny Dang, one of the most famous hip-hop jewelers on the planet, had his store raided by the feds. The allegations were serious. Dang was supposedly selling lab-grown diamonds and moissanite to rappers while charging them natural diamond prices. Some versions of the rumor claimed he had been booked. Others said his music store got vandalized by angry clients who felt played. Kodak Black's name surfaced music in these conversations because of his well-documented history of copping grills and chains from Dang's operation. And these accusations did not just materialize from thin air. Music. Sauce Walker and other figures in the Houston rap scene have been sounding the alarm about lab-grown diamonds being passed off as natural music stones within the industry. The conversation had been building for months with jewelers and rappers taking music sides, some defending lab-grown diamonds as a legitimate option, others framing the whole thing as an outright finesse. Music. When Dang's name got thrown into the mix, the situation escalated fast because of the sheer volume of high-profile clients he served. If Dang was moving misrepresented stones, the implications touched dozens of music of major artists. And Kodak was one of the first names people brought up. The timing could not have been. He was already music, carrying the baggage from the diamond tester clip and the lingering stink of the Izzy Jeweler fallout. Now his name was getting attached to a completely separate scandal involving a different jeweler music in a different city tied to accusations he had no hand in creating and zero ability to control. The music. Internet, predictably, collapsed every single one of these separate events into one flat narrative. Kodak, music, Black wears fake jewelry. The nuance of each situation, the tester refusal, the music, Izzy dispute, the Dang rumors, all got dissolved into one verdict. The full picture. The irony of the entire Kodak Black fake jewelry saga music is that one of the most clear-cut cases of fake Kodak jewelry is not about what was hanging around his neck. It was about what was sitting on a Walmart shelf. Back in 2020, Kodak and Lil Baby found out that third-party sellers on Walmart's marketplace were music, peddling cheap knockoff versions of his Sniper Gang chain. These were not jeweler disputes or diamond quality debates. These were straight-up bootleg products, imitation pieces carrying his branding, sold to regular consumers without authorization, without quality, and without a dime going to Kodak. He went public about it. His team fired off cease and desist letters and threatened to take legal action against the sellers. Then there was the Trax NYC situation. Trax NYC, run by Maxid Agajani, had done work with Kodak and operated out of the Diamond District in New York. In early 2026, a whole brawl broke out on camera in the Diamond District involving Trax NYC and a rival music jeweler. The beef was over a customer who had allegedly gotten sold a mispresented gold bracelet worth around 22 bands by the competing operation. The fight went viral, complete with security footage, and both sides telling their version of events. Kodak's name popped up because of his association with Trax NYC Music. He was not the victim, not the accused, and not involved in any real way. But guilt by association moves fast online, and his name floated to the comment sections regardless. Their music were also smaller moments that added fuel to the fire. For instance, social media chatter about a high-value Kodak pendant cracking dropped yet another data point into the growing pile of evidence that people were stacking against his ice. The Izzy jeweler incident was a legitimate business dispute. Kodak paid for his pieces. A jeweler held them hostage before a major performance. Somebody in the jeweler's circle called the pieces fake on Instagram while literally wearing music them, and Kodak went off on live about the whole mess. The Johnny Dang incident, on the other hand, is still unverified. Dang himself Music addressed the claims publicly, pushing back on the allegations and denying that any raid ever music took place. Multiple pieces of coverage pointed out the lack of evidence supporting the raid claims, and no arrests were ever confirmed. But then, music. There is the prop money comment which raised eyebrows. Kodak may have been caught in the crossfire of a music industry that has its own demons, but his reactions have left some wondering if there's more to these speculations. So let's be real. Do music. Y'all think there's some truth to the fake jewelry claims, or is this just another internet pile-on? Let me know what you think in music, the comments. For videos like this, click on this next card on your screen.